Welcome to stage 6 of the Benelux tour, and we finally have something to talk about in terms of the mountains classification. There was an early breakaway with Axel Sjogren, Diana Stephenson, and Enrico Zarcone. They scored on the early climbs, and the way things are right now, Enrico Zarcone would become the first leader in the mountains classification. And in doing so, he would score his first points of the season, and I think he's the last rider to not score any points at all. So at the end of the stage, it should be that all 88 riders drafted in the VeloTour will have scored at some point this season, which means it's been a great competition in terms of all the riders having a chance to do something in the races. But in this race, the Benelux Tour, there's 30 kilometers to ride and 2 small hills between here and the finish, 2 Category 3 climbs, and we're looking at the new leader of the race, Yannick Verhoeven of Kyoto. He also has his teammate Egon Kallas in second place. So Kyoto are in a very dominant position with 2 stages remaining, and so much firepower as a team, it's going to be very hard to attack them. But still, plenty can happen at the end of this stage because it is a hilly race, and I think some riders should try some attacks here. Onto the Mur de Saint Roch, very steep little climb. Like many of the hills we've seen in the Ardennes Classics, and Ishikawa Kitetsu doing the work for Fichua Forrestal. Virgil Lazarescu is fairly high up on GC. If he has a good result, he could move up even more, and I think that's the plan for Fichua Forrestal. Blaise Robillard just coming through to take the points at the top of the climb there, so he will score 5 points in the mountains competition. The race splitting up a little bit on that steep climb. Seems a few dozen riders getting caught out there, including the green jersey. And on to another climb now. Only averages around 3.5%, so it's not very steep at all actually, but still some uphill terrain to work with here. ML Meyer, the time trial winner of stage 2 at the front of the pack. And Valnor showing some interest in this stage, that is Superchak Chirativat, who has been sent to the front to do the domestique work. So maybe they're thinking of sending Jeroen Luyken on the attack, or if Sofiane Dramuni is a good candidate to win the stage. Dramuni's already got 1 in this race, could be looking for another. And we are getting an attack. I think that's a Valnor 1-2 of Pasquale and Luyken. So that is a very creative move they've tried. They've taken other riders with them over the top of the climb. Looks like other teams a bit vigilant though, they chased it down. That was a very smart tactic by Valnor to try something like that. Get another attack by Dennis and Sangamana. I think that's Franck Chausson of Natalia. Jonathan Kaiser coming across as well. Some rolling terrain until the final 5 or 6 kilometers, which are very flat into the finish. Ugo Zorzi up there for Castelli, rider we've not talked about much this season. And Chausson is trying again, another attack with Jonathan Kaiser. They want to establish a gap and work well together into the finish. See if the peloton can be caught lacking. And there's a split. The yellow jersey is not in the front group of riders. It's come back together. So the race starting to rubber band back and forth a bit in terms of the groups. But Yannick Verhoeven needs to be closer to the front of this race because he could miss out on the attacks. Evgeny Volashkov, who's 7th place on GC, is having a good race, survived the cobblestones of yesterday. He's trying a move now. One of the Kyoto riders, probably Galati or Kallas. Jeroen Luyken is up there, and they've got a gap. So this is a very powerful group of 8 riders. Johnny Wouters is in there, the sprinter. So you can't keep him out of the front of the Benelux Tour. He's on home roads after all, but look at Kaiser and Chausson. Desperately trying to get away and win this stage. 5 kilometers to go. Look at Wouters trying to get across there. Matt Ciota leading the chase down for Hackett because Otis Grimsby has missed out on this attack. They need to get Grimsby back up with these guys to keep his place on GC. So this is Egon Kallas in the group. If he were to finish ahead of Verhoeven, he could take the race lead, but it would stay in the team in terms of the leader's jersey. And Duverne was in there as well. She can move up a place or 2 in the standings. But into the Foam Rouge, Jonathan Kaiser has been caught in the final sprint. Gonzalo Galvez is going for it, but he's fading once again, and a Kyoto rider, Egon Kallas, will win the sprint. and he could take the race lead. We'll have to see if the time gap holds between him and Verhoeven. I think those first 8 riders should be given the same time, but what about the group led by Miroslav Kostra? It would be 19 seconds if the race judges award the time gap, but we will not know until we look at the final race standings. But that is a big disappointment for Gonzalo Galvez, because I thought he had it just right, but Egan Kalas saved himself for the right moment and ended up getting to the finish line first. So if Galvez just waited another second or two, he would have won the stage. And that one's gotta hurt for Natalia. The top riders on the stage were Egan Kalas, Gonzalo Galvez, and Yevgeny Balashkov in the top 3, so they will get time bonuses. And those front 8 riders from that attack were given the 19-second time gap over the rest of the pack. So they will all gain time in the general classification. And Egan Kalas gets the 10-second time bonus as well, so a good chance he's the new race leader. Kostra and Kromer were best of the rest in that second bunch, so they will score some points for the points jersey competition. In the general classification, Egan Kalas becomes the new leader by 23 seconds ahead of Yannick Verhoeven. Tony Kiergo up to 3rd place at 27 seconds. Laura Duverne up to 4th at 28 seconds. Balashkov moves 2 places up into 5th place, 32 seconds back on Egan Kalas. Grimsby missed out today, he's down to 6th place at 40 seconds. Johnny Voucher's still hanging out in the top 10. Jerome Loiken has been consistent as well. In the point jersey competition, it's Davide Lagana who leads by 8 points over Johnny Voucher's. That's a nice advantage going into the last stage, but Johnny Vouchers will have a chance to strike back because Cobblestone's on the route for stage 7. And finally, a leader in the mountains classification, it is Enrico Zarcone scoring his first points of the season. He leads by 6 points over Diana Stephenson, and many climbs on the route tomorrow as well, so that competition just getting started. In the team classification, no change at the top, Kyoto are still the leaders. But this race has gone by pretty fast, just one more stage on the route, stage 7, very similar to stage 5 in terms of the cobbled climbs, so an opportunity for teams to attack, and it's up to Kyoto to defend and control the race. But they have a very strong team leader in Egan Kalas, and the rider in 2nd place for Hova, about equally as strong in this terrain. So that team in a very dominant position. We'll see what the other teams have in store. So as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time for the final stage of the Benelux Tour. Welcome to the 7th and final stage of the Benelux Tour. 35 kilometers to ride on this tough stage, and it's all backloaded with the categorized climbs at the end of the course. We have 5 surviving breakaways with a 1 and 20-second lead over the peloton. It's Florence Haas, Arnaud Deschet, Diana Stephenson, Sadek Frokmanesh, and Chungling Shin. Rodolfo Lucci used to be a part of this group, but he has since been dropped. And Enrico Zarcone, the leader of the mountains classification, tried an attack to try and score some points, but it did not work. He could not catch up to the breakaways. So I believe Diana Stephenson is in a good position to win that mountains jersey at the end of the race. Not sure how many points she has so far. She has 18 actually, it's just come up on the screen now. So she is the new leader in that competition and looks set to win it at the very end, unless someone wins all of the remaining climbs. The yellow jersey in this group, that is Egan Kalas. Laura Duverne, one of the big rivals for the stage, also in this group. She's had her best race of the season here in the Benelux Tour. A good sign for Sismic. She did not do much in the Hilly Classics as we expected. Had higher expectations, but making up for some of that here in the Benelux Tour. And this breakaway's advantage is coming down. It's just 45 seconds. They're onto the Kapelmuur. We saw this climb on stage 5 when Kelvin Moore attacked and dropped all of his breakaway companions. I don't think the breakaways will have their time to shine this time on stage 7 because look at that peloton. They're right upon the breakaway now. Egan Kalas himself is pulling them back. In fact, he's attacking with Zarcone and Laura Duverne. Probably just some hard tempo making to deter any other attacks. But Duverne very vigilant, she does not want to let Callas run away and win this race. An attack this time by Heiner Kromer, that is not what I was expecting in this stage. The AlphaTauri sprinter has flown the coupe, and no reactions so far. Kromer a bit down on GC, but not terribly far behind, just a couple of minutes. Could stand to move up if no one chases him down, and onto another climb, it's the Bosberg now. As I say that about Kromer, it seems that he's cracked, he was already very tired. I think it was a tactical move to try and draw out some of the other riders to help out Yevgeny Balashkov, but it didn't work. In another attack this time, it's Emmerich Alexander of Sismic and Jamal Safari. Both these riders have team leaders for the GC. These are satellite riders going up the road, trying to inject some urgency and excitement into the race, seeing if they can help out their team leaders. This is a nice duo, they're strong on the flat roads. We'll see if they open up an advantage. So far it seems to not be happening, the peloton is chasing. Probably the Kyoto team closing this down, or AlphaTauri. Actually it's Johnny Valters in 7th place overall. So one of the GC men pulling it back himself. Then finishing it off is Javier Lopez. 2 climbs between here and the finish, 12 kilometers to ride. You can see they're all sprinting here at the top of the climb, taking advantage of any uphill terrain to put the other riders under pressure. Safari attacking once again. He takes the mountains points. Alexander trying to get back into his wheels, the same 2 as before. And that was the same case to Go Banner. Valter is the one chasing them down. Callas very comfortable. He's not been challenged on today's stage, and I think the other teams have left it too late. But Grimsby will try with Pasquale. Grimsby in 6th place, he missed out on the move yesterday, lost a couple places on GC. See if he's going to try and get it back. At the end of the stage, just like stage 5, it's the uphill cobbled sprint on the reverse side of the Campo mirror. And that will suit someone like Luigi Belle, who's going to try and attack here. The cobbled classics reader for AlphaTauri is trying another move. He missed out on stage 5, he did not have good form. Making another attempt on stage 7. Euskaltel still wants to chase, so does Kyoto this time, it's Kazim Benabi. It's hard to say who's going to win the stage at this point, it's come back together with 2.5 Ks to go. And a lot of riders still here, a bigger group than I expected. We'll go to the village a ways, and then we'll turn onto the Kapelmere. From there it's an uphill cobbled sprint. Otis Grimsby trying an attack, approaching the bottom of the Kapelmere now, 2 Euskaltel riders up here. But Luigi Belle comes through in the center to win the stage. Euskaltel riders up there, that was Baines in 2nd place. Grimsby as well. They might get a bit of a gap here on the rest of the field, we'll have to see. They probably will, 16 seconds. Useful for Otis Grimsby, takes back the time he lost. With the yellow jersey of Egon Callas in this group, so he will win the Benelux Tour. Nobody was able to get rid of him on this stage, and even if they did, they still had Yannick Rahova in reserve. So a comfortable stage for Kyoto considering all the obstacles, and Luigi Belle of AlphaTauri gets his first win of the season. Not as much drama as you'd expect for a stage with all those cobblestones and obstacles. We'll see how it's shaken out now. Luigi Belle was the winner by 3 seconds ahead of Lachlan Baines. Roger Lazarescu, Otis Grimsby, Victor Petruskavicius, Glenn Martins, and Marcel Lefebvre were also in that front group. Then the main group with the yellow jersey was led home by Tony Kirigo of Doimo, Casper Bosmans. The attacking Emmerich Alexander gets a 10th place. In the final general classification, Egon Callas is the winner, 23 seconds ahead of Yannick Rahova. Tony Kirigo finishes 3rd at 27 seconds. Grimsby moves up to 4th place in the same time. Duverne is 5th at 28 seconds. Evgeny Balashkov 6th at 32 seconds. Johnny Valters with a very good and consistent race, finishing in 7th place. And Jeroen Leuyken, Casper Bosmans, Kazim Benabi finishing were top 10. Davide Lagana by 2 points has won the final points classification ahead of Johnny Wouters. In the final Mountains classification, Diana Stephenson finally gets one of those jerseys she's been trying all season. By 3 points, she's taken it away from Enrico Zarcone. Kyoto have won the team classification ahead of Natalia, pretty comfortably in fact. I don't think any team is going to threaten that after the Stage 2 time trial. So worst case scenario for all teams not named Kyoto, because the front running team has taken another massive chunk of points and the standings looking even worse for the rest of the VeloTour. So go ahead and pull those up now. With the lead extended to around 1,300 points, actually 1,500, excuse my arithmetic, but Kyoto are the leaders once again in a very commanding position. AlphaTauri in a solid second place, they're 1,000 points ahead of AlphaTauri. Euskaltel Euskadi are closing down on Valnor, they're just 600 points back now, and with some races favorable to Euskaltel coming up, Valnor's third place is not safe any longer. So change could be coming in the top 3 because those 3 teams have been up there for pretty much the whole season. Hackett, Tismek, Doimo, Jupiler still in their respective positions, and Natalia have jumped up 1 place into 9th. They won 2 stages in the Benelux Tour. They will go ahead of Futuro Forestall. But things looking better and better for Kyoto. And the way things are now, it looks like Ali is destined to win their 2nd title in the VeloTour. Historic accomplishment because we've only had 4 seasons. In the individual standings, we'll show those now, the highest scoring riders on the season. Lida and Matsuoda still very closely matched, but you see Balashkov has moved up quite a ways. And many of the suspects we talked about all season up there inside the top 15. The Benelux Tour is our final stage race before the Tour de France, a very unusual one, but from here on out we have Eschborn Frankfurt, another race for the sprinters, then 2 classics for the climbers, the Coppa dell'Emilia, and then the Monument of Il Lombardia. So if anyone is going to challenge Kyoto, specifically AlphaTauri, those 2 hilly classics, they need to put in a huge performance, because the Tour de France looks like it has Kyoto written all over it, but it's also a very hard race with many mountain stages. And that will be the big finale of Season 4. As always, thank you for watching along with the Benelux Tour, and we'll see you next time for Eschborn Frankfurt.